Against the Ropes podcast.
Juan went back against the rope. He's desperately trying to
Against the
cover
ropes,
up.
number one.
Ali won't extend himself while Lyle's against the rope. But Ali fell twice.
Welcome back. We are live. This is Against the Ropes. What's up? What's up? Welcome. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda. AtR podcast number 87. What's up? What's up?
What's up, man? What's up? Out of quarantine, man. Still here. Still in the studios at home. So yeah.
Yep. The AtR studios. That's right.
And what did we just finish doing? We just finished watching some boxing fights, right? ESPN keeping us entertained. You know, this time shelving out a lineup of most controversial fights of the last, I want to say, 15, 20 years, right?
Yeah, so
30
you guys
years,
were tuned into the fights right now on ESPN2, I believe. ESPN2, they just played a series of fights that we're going to talk about. They're down there on your screen. We're going to talk about those fights. We're going to talk about Eddie Hearn wanting to have some fights in his backyard. I don't know if you heard about that, Chris.
I heard a little bit, but no, not too much. So I'm sure you're going to fill me in.
We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about boxing's return and sports returning soon. We're hearing in California as soon as June, right? The return may happen. So, yeah. Let's get started with the last fight that we saw, man. I'm going to just go ahead and put the graphics up on your screen. Right.
Okay. So this is probably one of the most controversial ones on that list that we saw. So it was between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Jose Luis Castillo. And to put it in perspective, this was when Floyd employed that pretty boy Floyd boxing style, which was a little bit. I mean, he still had defense, but it was a little bit more offensive than what we're used to seeing, right? So, what did you think about the fight, Gio? I know you've seen this more than me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say much. I'm gonna just leave the graphics up on your screen. I think we mentioned this fight a couple of times on the show. All right, now a lot of you got to watch it or rewatch it. I don't know. Let us know how you guys saw it. I've always said that was Mayweather's first loss. All right.
Okay.
Out of two that he lost in his career.
Out of two.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's two that you can say he definitely lost,
Mm-hmm.
and this is one of them. The second one is against Judah when his corner ambushed, or Mayweather's corner ambushed Judah, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission just kind of ignored it and continued on with the fight. But this was a good fight, man. I believe it was close.
Yeah.
I believe it was close, but I think Castillo did enough to win. Let me go on to some comments here on the live chat. Derek checking in. Who is Alan Garcia signing with? We don't know, man. I don't think they would tell us anyway, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
They might tell us how fair.
Yeah, they might.
anything.
But we probably wouldn't say it on air. But I don't know as of now. I don't know if they told you anything.
They haven't told me anything. But I'm sure once we'll know, we'll message you if it's okay with them for us to tell.
Yeah, that's for Gonzalo Torres. Shout out to you guys, and shout out to Sean, who's here just boxing live in the building. And Derek's saying the Hearn mansion is dope. Yeah, we're gonna get into it in a bit.
Yeah, so Castillo Mayweather. You know, this is the first time I see it in most of its entirety in a long time. So I got to see some things that I had forgotten or had missed the first time around.
Yeah, we were reacting to it as if it were live, right?
Yeah. And you said something that, you know, that when Floyd fought Judah, you know, the commission looked the other way. We saw a lot of that in this fight as well, when the ref looked the other way or showed a little bit more favoritism to Floyd. And I mean, but again, this was a very close competitive fight. You saw Floyd's demeanor throughout that fight. It wasn't easy. course, you saw, the flashes of why he's Floyd, why he's where he's at now. But yeah, this was a scrappy fight. It was a tough fight. Jose Luis Castillo has that style, and he made it messy. He made it very, very, very hard for Floyd.
Yeah, so for some context, this happened April 20 in 2002, of course, right? Another fight on my birthday. But yeah, Floyd was moving up in weight. He was moving up to lightweight to fight Jose Luis Castillo.
Yeah.
And he struggled, like you said. Of course, he said he had an injured hand or injured shoulder, right? He injured a hand after every fight, by the way, right? But I think this was a legit, injury. But yeah, he struggled, and like you said, we thought he lost, right? You thought he lost as well?
I thought it was very close. I thought it was very close. I can see it, going either way, but I'm not really too mad with the decision, but I do see why they ran it back. I do see that it was very close. It could have gone either way. I see why you think Castillo won, because nobody had touched Floyd as much as he got touched in this fight, and then in later fights, other than Mosley and maybe Cotto thereafter. But
let's read the punch stats on your screen. Castillo landed 203. Mayweather, what did I say, 157? And of course, the punch stats don't always reflect exactly what happens in the fight, because they score it round by round, right? Not on punch totals, in its totality. But I think that what struck me the most was the power punches, according to these punch stats, which I'm gonna read here as they come onto your screen. But it just seemed like Castillo was able to land more, a lot of body punches. But I mean, it happens.
Yeah, there's something I noticed was Castillo's body work, body punches. He kept hitting him to the ribs.
Yeah, one thing I told you was that Mayweather's shoulder roll wasn't as effective, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
That right, Castillo kept throwing kind of like a looping straight right, that kept connecting.
Yeah.
But I think that just the output itself won the fight for Castillo. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I know, Sean, you're a big Mayweather fan, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if you go by what the masses, because if you see this fight, you do hear some boos here and there.
So Castillo power punches 173 to, what does that say, 66 to Mayweather's.
Okay.
He landed at a better percentage. I mean, I just don't see. Harold Letterman had it 115, 111, all right? And the judge for Castillo. Okay. And the judges had it 115, 111. I think two for Mayweather, obviously 115, 111, and one had it 116, 111 for Mayweather. And you mentioned the deductions, right?
Yeah,
and the points.
Yeah, because you said 115, 111. That if you don't take away both deductions, it would have been 116, 112, correct? Without the point deduction. So, yeah. You want to talk about that?
So Castillo got deducted a point for a late punch, right? If I'm not mistaken. And the referee kept warning him a little bit and took a point away. A couple rounds later, Floyd Mayweather landed a big punch after the bell as well. The ref kind of thought about it. He's like, nah, I'm good. And then a couple rounds after that, he kind of made up for that mistake and kind of deducted a point for Mayweather. Kind of just, the way I saw it, he was just trying to make up for the mistake that he did prior to that.
Yeah, somebody had to tell him something, because when Floyd landed that punch, you and me were like, okay, ref, he's going to even things out. He didn't.
Yeah.
And they just cut straight to commercial, right? It's like, nothing to see here, folks. But, he corrected that mistake, even things out a bit. But,
I don't know. I think he definitely lost that fight, Floyd Mayweather Jr. I don't think that was the best version of him. I mentioned that he was a little flat-footed. His defense wasn't as great. Like I said, that shoulder roll at the time was a little vulnerable. And Castillo, no veteran, he had about 50 fights back then compared to Mayweather's 28, 27, something like that he had at the time. He made that experience count. Kind of reminded me of El Cidi against Loma, right? The veteran, even though less skilled, still was able to win that fight. Yeah, and then I don't know. I don't have much else to say, but on that fight, But just some comments here. Do you guys think Oscar eked it against Floyd as well? You think he pulled it off against Oscar against Mayweather?
I don't think Oscar pulled it off. I had to be, completely honest.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. I think this fight was closer. This fight, if you had to give it to, if you could only give one fight to either Castillo or De La Hoya against Mayweather, who was closer, I would say Castillo.
I agree with that 100%.
Castillo for sure was much more competitive, and you can tell Floyd was much more comfortable in there with De La Hoya than he was with Castillo. You just, you see Mayweather. He showboats, he flashes, he smiles at the crowd. He wasn't really doing that with Castillo. There was no room for him to be doing that. He had to be lightning focused every single second of that fight, because he was getting, he was getting hands put on him, and it kind of reminiscent of that first Maidana fight where Maidana just made him super uncomfortable. I don't think that Lawyer did enough to make him comfortable. He landed some good punches. He had a few good rounds, but I don't think enough to warrant a win, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Floyd Sr. put it the best when they asked him right after the fight, because he did used to train Oscar, and he did have a little bit of beef with his son, but he didn't train Oscar for that fight. But they asked him, and he said if this was scored Olympic style, then Oscar would win because he touched him more. But if in boxing, I think he said he thought Mayweather won because he landed the better punches. But it was close, man. I think the one against Castillo, definitely, like we said, he probably lost that one. But the other closer ones were Maidana and Oscar. But I think Castillo has the more convincing case, to say that he beat Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Yeah. Yeah, if you had to name any other fighter that maybe touched Mayweather, it was, Shane Mosley, who we've had on the podcast, that round 2. That one was the most damage Floyd has taken in a single round. 2 rounds.
Yeah, he caught 2 big right hands.
Yeah.
And was able to survive.
But as a whole, I think Castillo, Maidana, and Cotto, even though I think Mayweather, won largely the majority of that fight, each round came at a price, because just like Castillo, even though Cotto's not known for his jab, that jab was landing, and we saw that jab by Castillo, even though he's not known for having a great jab. That jab, was landing on Mayweather this fight around. So
yeah, so that was a Mayweather fight. Like we said, they re-aired these fights just now on ESPN 2. We were tuned into these fights. They also showed Oscar De La Hoya against Felix Tito Trinidad. They also showed Oscar De La Hoya against Sugar Shane Mosley, number 2. They showed Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez, number 3. And they showed Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard, right? And they're here on your screen. Which one do you guys think was the most controversial, putting the Floyd Mayweather and Castillo one aside? These 5 that I just mentioned, 4 actually: De La Hoya Trinidad, De La Hoya Shane, Pacquiao Marquez, and Hagler Leonard. Which one do you guys think was the most controversial?
I'll tell you which one I think was the most controversial.
Yeah.
I would have to give it to Tito Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya.
20 years later, people are still talking about it.
Yeah, that one just has a lot of implications, because there's so many factors, not just in the sport version, but politically, culturally. It's Puerto Rico versus Mexico, the adopted Mexican son in Oscar De La Hoya. So
wasn't Don King and
oh yeah, there you go.
Right?
Don King versus Bob Arum. If people that follow boxing they know that there's battles going on, not just inside the ring but outside the ring. So this was a big risk for both Don King and Bob Arum. Whose fighter's gonna come out on top? Sometimes these entities, these promotion companies, these players, they don't want to work together. So they knew there was a lot of money involved, so they had to make this fight happen. The audience wanted it. These 2 fighters in their primes wanted it. It was labeled the fight, of the century up until then.
The Tito against Oscar?
Yeah,
I think they named it the fight of the Millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they build it. So, yeah, this one had a lot of implications. So, the way it ended, largely, mostly due to Oscar and how he fought those last rounds, really caused controversy. Because if you really look at it, the scope of the fight, Oscar really did give him a boxing lesson. if you're Puerto Rican and you look at this fight and you're objective, you would have to admit that Oscar was fighting a very nice fight. You know, he just outboxed Tito and he just made a miss. He wasn't getting touched at all. I mean, Tito was landing some, but not enough. And so, yeah, I think that one was the one that really caused a lot of controversy after the fight. Because, like you said, 28, 29 years later, we're still talking about it. And that's the one that's,
20,
yeah, that's the one that most stays in people's minds and people's memories.
Yeah, so Sean says, from my view, Cotto, Maidana, and Castillo were all tougher fights than Oscar was.
On a physical level, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And, just some context or some stats for these fights. The controversial fights that we speak of, De La Hoya against Tito Trinidad, they're both undefeated. They were both champions. This fight was in 1999. One judge had it 114, 114. The other two had it 115, 114, and 115, 113 for Tito.
That's
very,
tight.
very close.
That's tight.
De La Hoya landed 97 more punches, according to Campo Box. Then Tito Trinidad, 263 to 166. And that fight sold 1.4 million pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And that was fight, like you said, Mexico against Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And up until then, that was the highest grossing fight to date for, up until Mayweather, De La Hoya. So, yeah, that one, do you remember where you were when you were watching that fight, Gio?
Yeah, at an uncle's house, and everybody was mad after the decision. And everybody in the house was more of Chavez guys,
Yeah.
And, as we know, De La Hoya had beat Chavez a few years prior to that. So, the hardcore Mexicans weren't big fans of De La Hoya. But even in this fight, a lot of Mexicans did stand behind him. And even after the decision, everyone was saying De La Hoya won. He got robbed, right? But a lot of people do blame him for how the end of the fight transpired, right? Him kind of trying to box, trying to stay on the outside, and kind of saying, I won the fight already, so I'm going to just get through these last few rounds and go home and take the championship, right? But judges saw it otherwise, very close fight. I thought De La Hoya edged it out, just like I thought he edged out at least one against Mosley.
At least one, yeah.
At least one. And then that second fight against Mosley, De La Hoya landed Mosley 221 to 127, according to these Campo Box numbers, right? So in both of those fights, he was able to land a lot more punches and land at a better connect percentage, right? But in that case, against the rematch against Mosley, it was still unanimous for Mosley. And I was thinking about this earlier, like, if De La Hoya would have won those close fights, he would have been probably the greatest welterweight and probably like top 4 or 5 of all time. If he beats Trinidad, if he beats Mosley, and if he beats Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Yeah.
Right? And technically, he does have a win against Julio Cesar Chavez, right? In 100 years, probably, people will look back and be like, oh, dang, this guy beat Julio Cesar Chavez, even though obviously Chavez was a lot older and toward the end of his career. But up to that loss against De La Hoya, he only had one loss prior to that.
Yeah.
So people, like I said, in 100 years, look back and say, wow, look, Chavez only had one loss, though, and then he lost to De La Hoya, right? But obviously he was a little older, and they both will tell you that.
Oh, yeah, I agree. If Oscar has Tito, Mosley, if he has those wins under his box, right, he would have gone down as one of the, I agree, as one of the great welterweights. Why? Because he had
greatest welterweight.
the greatest thing. I don't know about the greatest.
Who would be greater than him if he beats all of them?
I still think I don't think he could touch Leonard's
Pacquiao?
resume.
Okay.
Leonard's resume,
Okay.
and of course you'll go down with Sugar Ray Robinson. That's a different era, but I think he becomes the greatest, of course, the greatest modern welterweight because he comes in an era where he was just the face of boxing, where TV
And he got that Olympic gold medal, perfect start to his career.
Yeah. And this fight against Tito was winnable. It should have really have been a W if Oscar had done what he just had, if he had followed the plan. And against Mosley, that first one was pretty close. I give that first one to Mosley. But these are winnable fights. These are those fights where you just dig a little bit more, and you get that win out. You know what I think, Gio? And
What's
you might this might sound controversial. I think Oscar after that Tito fight, I think he got a little soft. And I'll tell you why. After the fight, of course, Oscar was in disbelief. He was upset. Clearly, he thought he had won this fight, and he was upset. And where did he find, some refuge or some words of, encouragement? His dad. His dad kind of went up to him and told him, like, you know what, you won the fight. And it seemed like that, all that kind of lifted from Oscar. He went on record to say this. And honestly, I think sometimes that's the motivating factor for Oscar. I think Oscar, other than his mom, we know the story with his mom passing, him getting the gold medal. That was one motivating factor. But I think him trying to, please or trying to, gain the approval of his father, largely encouraged him to do so well up to that point. I think once he had that a little bit, I feel like he lost an edge just a little bit. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, you say you think he got soft after that
A
loss?
little bit, just a slight. I think
feel like
lost
he
an
was
edge.
always soft.
Oh.
Honestly, he was always more of a nicer type of guy,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, maybe I think that's why a lot of Mexican people criticized him, right? He wasn't like the macho man. He wasn't the guy who was gonna go in there and trade punches with everybody. He was smarter. He soft spoken, things like that. But let's read some of these comments here. Why was Oscar so screwed by the judges in so many fights? Did Don King set him up?
Who said this?
Mr. Gonzalo Torres.
Okay.
All right. If you wanna say the conspiracy theory
Theories.
answer, Oscar was gonna sell regardless whether he won or lost. So why not have a guy like Shane Mosley, who maybe wasn't as popular, win those fights? Either way, you're still gonna make millions off Oscar,
Yeah.
right? And then you insert another name, Mosley, right? Same with Trinidad, even though he was obviously popular among the Puerto Rican crowd already. But Don King was, in that corner. All right.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't gain or lose whether Oscar won or lost. Whether he lost, in this case, he was still going to make millions. He still went on to sell some of the biggest fights in boxing.
Yeah, I see that point that our viewer brings up. If anybody, I'm not saying, but if anybody's getting political favoritism, it would be the face of boxing, which was Oscar. If anybody has any pull, it's Oscar. If anybody stems to win from getting a decision, it's Oscar. I think Mosley kind of, he went on an air. He said that he's like, oh, I didn't think I was gonna get a decision in Vegas. I'm going up against Oscar. Oscar pretty much owns Vegas. The way Mayweather, how difficult it is to get a decision against Mayweather. First of all, because of his boxing skill, and second, in his hometown in Vegas. If anybody has any pull, I think it's Oscar, and it's not any other fighter that he fights.
Yeah, Sean says it's not good for a fighter's legacy to be everyone. Fans remember boxers who lost more fondly. We give them credit for fighting stiffer competition. Yeah, I agree with that. For some reason, like, people always relate more to those who suffer more.
Yeah.
To get where they are, right? And that takes me kind of to the LeBron Jordan comparisons, right? Jordan was kind of too perfect. He was just too good. People relate with LeBron because this guy lost a lot, right? He had a lot of failures. And Jordan was just like too perfect. Who can relate with being too perfect, right? But yeah, definitely to me, every time I look at a guy who, or a legend who's had a few losses in their resume, all that tells me is that they faced the best competition.
Yeah.
And going back to styles make fights, just like what was the thing I read recently that Ali, he beat Foreman, but he lost to Frazier, and Frazier beat Foreman, and it was like a triangle where all these heavyweights were beating each other, right? And I feel like we respect that more because they face some type of adversity.
Yeah. If you guys have any more triangles, share them on our comments. We'll read them out. Another one that I think about that comes to mind right now for some reason is Margarito beat Sergio. Wait, no. No, I'm thinking about that wrong. Another triangle is Mosley.
Margarito and Cotto.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
That's what I was going with. There you go. You got me. Yeah.
Yeah, Margarito knocked out Cotto fair and square, right?
Yeah. Psych.
Nah, he beat Cotto. Fair, in my opinion. Lost to Shane Mosley.
And Cotto beat Shane Mosley.
Cotto beat Shane, and then
Yeah.
Shane beat Margarito. Yeah, it's kind of crazy tangling there, but you guys know what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Same thing with Leonard, Duran, Hagler, Hearns. Yeah. So you're watching Leonard against Hearns, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that fight? I kind of caught the end there a little bit.
Okay, so I've seen highlights before. You know, if you hear about that fight, you kind of just you know about Hagler being the dominant force, the middleweight champion at the time. Sugar Ray Leonard has been out of the ring for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Three. Almost three, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hagler at the time had 12 title defenses. Sugar Ray Leonard hadn't fought in nearly 3 years. And he was gunning for his third weight class. That's why he took on that fight against a middleweight champion.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he I think Marvin called him out. Leonard at first was like, no, I'm retired. But I guess he caught a fight where Hagler took it to, I think the fighter's name was Bobby. He was taking it to him. And Sugar Ray got that itch. He's like, you know what? I'm going to fight him. I'm going to do it. I could beat him. So when I look back, people say Sugar Ray Leonard was boxing, running, moving, sticking, and jabbing. And it seemed like he just stopped boxing, trying to, not mix it up. But once we saw this fight, he was taking some leather. He was in there taking some punches. I know you said
kind of inevitable, right? Against Hagler.
Against the Hagler. And I know you said that you're not a big fan of that, that style, right? It's almost, people call it a one-dimensional come forward style, but I mean, he was cutting off the ring. He was moving. You said that he reminded you a little bit of Gennady. I think he's a little bit more mobile than Gennady. They're both known for their come forward style. They both have great punches. And I mean, for Sugar Ray Leonard, when he was giving Marvin Hagler some leather, he was letting his hands go, and he was taking some punches too. He was up in that against the ropes as well. He was taking some shots, and man, it was not as easy as
Take
people.
A shot of water for that.
It was not as easy as people picture it to be. That was a tough fight for Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah. So do you remember the scorecards? It was a split, right?
I think yeah.
Sean is saying here that fight is controversial because of a wax scorecard, kind of like Canelo GGG. So was one of them way off, or do you remember what the exact scorecards were?
I didn't see the exact.
Did they say it, huh? Did they say it?
I don't think they said it cut.
Yeah.
But I guess if it's something similar to the Triple G Canelo, then its scorecards are maybe a little far off and maybe not as close as what people saw, because it was, of course, you saw who was winning the majority of the rounds with employing what style. But again, it was some rounds were very close. Some rounds were very hard to win, even though Sugar Ray was outlanding Marvin Hagler. Of course, a lot of the fans. I look back now, you hear the boos. People don't like to see
118, 110
for Leonard. I'm assuming.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a stretch, and that's the thing that we don't like to see. That's what causes controversy when something's so far off that it just looks off. So yeah.
Yeah, and then they also showed Manny Pacquiao against Juan Manuel Marquez 3.
Yeah.
Manuel Marquez 3, the third fight. The first one was a draw. Second one, Pacquiao won. And then they redid that. So the third one, in my opinion...
That's the least controversial for me, in my opinion.
Least controversial, least memorable, maybe. It was the only fight between them to not feature a knockdown. Close fight, nonetheless. Pacquiao outlanded Juan Manuel Marquez 176-138, so very close, man, very close. And Juan Manuel was more accurate. This fight, the 1.4 pay-per-view buys.
1.4?
1.4.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. But I remember watching this fight, and I thought Pacquiao won, and just recently watching it just now. He probably edged it off. Just because of his output, it looks a little more spectacular. Even though Juan Manuel, this is probably his best fight. Even in the fourth fight, I don't think he fought as well against Pacquiao. I think this fight he fought very well, and it was going back to that Mayweather effect, right? Yeah. Just because Marquez maybe didn't have so much success against Pacquiao before. In this fight, he was landing clean punches. Yeah. And some rounds it seemed like every time Pacquiao threw something, Juan Juan Manuel was counterpunching, right? And he fought a very good fight. I still don't think he won. Sean says, I thought Juan Manuel took the first one. See, that's the one that people forget about, right? And I always mention this one. Marquez technically lost that fight because of the first round, right? Remember, one judge scored a 10-7 instead of a 10-6. So technically he lost the fight. I don't know. That was a very close fight, though, because he did win a lot of rounds, but losing basically 3 rounds in one was kind of what lost the fight for him. And then, obviously, that judging error was something that people don't talk about, right, when they say that Juan Manuel Marquez won. Technically, Pacquiao won that fight because if that guy would have scored it correctly, that first round, 10-6 instead of 10-7, then they would have gave Pacquiao the win. But, yeah, the third one, I thought it was very close.
Yeah, the third one was close. I see why people, first of all, the fans, the ones that support Juan Manuel Marquez, they go in with that aspect that we're not going to get robbed this time. And so, anything that he did good, people were just going to, amplify it. And he did, like you said, he did a lot of good things. He was probably the most effective of the two fighters with doing less. Yeah. So he probably threw less punches, but most of his punches were very effective. They're very eye-catching, very clean. Again, it's a style that favors Marquez in that counter-punching, as opposed to Manny's come forward, get caught on that counter. So most of the stuff he did, he looked clean. But again, I think Manny his output, like you said, Gio, was just too great, too much. Manny still landed some great punches. He still landed some good punches. You could see it on Marquez's face. It was,
And that was probably the biggest factor.
Yeah.
Probably in those fights, like if you're a judge and you see one guy, his face is swollen and bloody, and Pacquiao looked okay, I suppose. At the end of those rounds, and a lot of times you ask yourself, which one would I rather be?
Yeah.
All right. But very close nonetheless. I still thought the fourth fight was unnecessary. But I guess there was so much money there that they couldn't turn it down.
Yeah. I went in with that same notion. Like, again,
was the fourth fight a lucky punch?
No, it was not lucky because Marquez already knew Manny.
He had landed that same punch prior to that.
And we saw a lot of those instances of Manny's fakes, in this fight, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, he got caught with that one the next fight. But I think this fight, I don't think it was too controversial. It's just again the masses, the Marquez fans, hoping for a win,
and
wanting.
That's one of the reasons why I wasn't a big Marquez fan, because after every Pacquiao loss, he kept saying, I got robbed. And we always say this, right? If it's a close fight, we don't think it's a robbery.
Yeah.
But he just kept saying after every fight, I got robbed. And I don't know, I just didn't see that.
I understand why he thought he won. He did land the more effective, cleaner punches. I just think the volume was just too much. Like it was very like Manny on top of him, on him. Yeah, maybe didn't. Let's say Marquez threw, 4 punches. He landed 3 good ones. Manny threw 7. He landed, 4 or 5. But again, it's that volume adds up. That adds up, and so that's why I think Manny won that fight. I still think it was very close. It was maybe Marquez's best fight till that 4th one. But yeah, I don't think it was too controversial.
What are some other controversial ones that you guys you must not like? Glenn Johnson. Who's Glenn Johnson? I don't think I've watched Glenn Johnson.
Glenn Johnson, he's a good fighter. I think he was one of those guys that you didn't use too much. He didn't waste his punches. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, what are some other controversial fights that you remember off the top of my head? The Tim Bradley against Pacquiao, the first one, right? Very controversial. Yeah. What else?
Decisions.
Yeah, that's probably like that's the modern day one.
Danny Garcia against Mauricio Herrera.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
Right, in Puerto Rico.
That was a fail experiment.
Yeah.
Has he fought in Puerto Rico since?
Not since.
Dang,
he struggled to speak in Spanish, and that was bad.
I say Brandon Rios versus Richard Abel. That one's like more low key, but I still think it was very controversial. I think Abel outboxed him all fight.
Yeah,
that's another one. Yeah, if you guys have any other ones, shoot them out.
All of Marquez's losses were razor thin except for his pro debut when he fought a much heavier Mayweather. Yeah. That was one of the biggest scams in history of boxing. Right? It was supposed to be a catch weight and Mayweather didn't even make the catch weight.
So that was
just kind of paid off Marquez to still fight. Hey, I'm pretty sure Marquez made good money, so
why not?
Yeah. But moving on from controversial fights, let's talk about Eddie Hearn. I mentioned it earlier about his, and you're going to see the graphic right now.
Do tell.
In a little bit. So Eddie Hearn, let me read this quote here. It says, "This will go down in history. The most iconic venue in the world is Madison Square Garden. We will be the new Garden." So Eddie Hearn's proposal is that he wants to have fights in his back garden of the mansion where he grew up in Brentwood, close to London. So basically backyard boxing. He wants to have backyard boxing. And
some Kimbo Slice type.
You see the picture here. There's distance between everybody and everything. They have zones for the studios there, for where the commentators will be and where the post-fight interviews will be and things like that. Yeah, Eddie Hearn wants to get that done in the backyard of a mansion.
Okay.
What do you think about that? You're just trying to process all this, huh? You're just like, huh?
So when you say backyard, that's funny. Good backyard boxing. Jesus.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it's his father's house.
No. Trump? It's his dad's house?
No, yeah.
Dad's money?
That's what I was thinking. Eddie Hearn is basically a mini Trump.
No.
Because I had read this already, right? I had read this already that he was basically running a subdivision of his daddy's company, right? Because Matchroom Sport is the company founded by his father, Barry Hearn, right? So his father, I guess, owned this Matchroom Sport. He made a boxing division, and he appointed Eddie Hearn to run that boxing promotional company. And that's why I kind of discredit Eddie Hearn all the time now, because New World before, that's why I always discredited him, because in my mind it's always like, it's your daddy's company. Like, I always wonder, well, what was Eddie Hearn's background in boxing, right? He always gives all these interviews, even after the Joshua and Reese fight, and he's giving all these interviews and breaking down fights, and I'm just like, be quiet, Eddie Hearn. But
I think Eddie Hearn is very. I think he's good for boxing in terms of
good for boxing.
In terms of like what he's done and how he. I think he gets in front of a camera. He does great interviews. He's very knowledgeable of
and he has good personality.
Good personality.
Funny,
inner workings of boxing, how it works. Charismatic guy. I think he's good for that. And if anybody can answer this, I'm not sure if you can. My question is, why do people hate him so much? Like, especially British people.
Probably because of that.
Probably because of that. Yeah.
Gonzalo Torres saying Eddie Hearn. Eddie was born with a silver spoon up his bum. Facts. LOL. And I always assumed that's why the British people didn't really like him. Because it was just like, oh, look at this, new young rich kid just coming into boxing and signing all these stars. Basically, like what they do in the Premier League, like these billionaires and trillionaires just buying the teams, and then you buy the best players to come play for you, and then you start winning championships. Like, it's kind of like the same idea, I suppose. I don't know. I would like to hear it from a British perspective. Yeah.
For me, I think that's like one of the most obvious, reasons why the British might dislike, because they always boo him, like not just a boo, it's a passionate boo. Like, so I'm like, either the British people know something that we don't know. We know how boxing is. Like, there's always some dirt hidden there somewhere. I think they know something that we don't know. So
probably.
If y'all know some stories,
maybe something that was inherited from his father. I don't know.
Something
like something that his father did.
Yeah.
Sean says, we talk boxing. I'm sure Eddie is at least as qualified as we are, right? I don't think so, honestly.
He said, I don't think so.
I don't think so, honestly.
I think he's qualified some. I just want to know, like, why is it that the British people don't like him? Like, there's got to be a reason.
There's a reason why they don't like him.
But I think he's funny. I think he's entertaining.
He's good for boxing.
He's good for boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the stuff he did in the last couple of years. Even having these YouTuber guys fight, that's good. It brought in a lot of attention and money. As a boxing head, do I like it? No, but as from the business aspect, I understand it, and I'm pretty sure he made good money from it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his company's happy with it, so can't be mad at that.
Yeah, like he says, as a boxing head, I'm not particularly too happy with that, but yeah, money-wise, made sense. I think it was momentary, like it was like momentum for that moment. I don't think it carried over, but we'll see as long as he can keep the show going and, make it entertaining, that's the name of the game, at least in this era.
And I think the qualified things comes from, like, if Oscar De La Hoya is speaking boxing, all right, you're going to listen. All right, if Mayweather's speaking boxing, all right, you're going to listen.
Yeah.
But if Eddie Hearn is speaking, it's like, at least to me, I'm just kind of zoned out. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, well, to me, like, I'll listen if he's talking about, events and, putting this guy and this guy together.
Yeah, I think one of the possible fights was Dillian White against,
who
was it, the opponent they were looking at? I can't remember.
Dillian White versus...
I can't remember the opponent, but they were looking at some possible fights there for the new garden, right, that Eddie Hearn is proposing.
The new garden. Dylan White's finally getting his shot in the garden.
At the garden. Yeah, but, I mean, it looks pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You're going to put the camera on the ring. It doesn't really matter where it's hosted. You can host it right here in the studio, right? Like a fight. People will watch. It doesn't matter where, as long as you make...
Povetkin, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah. As long as you put two good fighters, that will sell a fight, make a great fight. Yeah. Doesn't matter where, really.
And look, another somewhat controversial take is a lot of these American boxers, I'm pretty sure they don't mind fighting with no fans. I mean, most of them already do anyway. Most of these guys can't fill up the chairs on their family picnic table.
It's like no pressure now, huh?
Yeah, no pressure to sell tickets now. You just go out there and do what you do.
I guess. I mean, yeah, that makes sense in that aspect.
Yeah, Sean says it does look cool. I like to see it. Yeah, I mean, especially if they can accommodate people and do it in a safely manner, then I think it makes sense. I mean, the property looks pretty big, so I think it'll work. It's close to London, so pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't mind going out there. Probably be only, well, they said Povetkin, right? But other than that, it probably will be mostly British fighters. I heard that he's trying to put on a women's fight for the main event. I don't know if that's correct or not, but that would be interesting, man. Yeah. And if it's going to be on the zone, we'll probably all be watching. So,
I just feel like this idea came about maybe like Eddie and his buddies were drinking one day. He's like, "Hey, mate, why don't we just do the fights like right here?
I already have a ring back there, mate.
I got some gloves back there, mate. Why didn't I think of this before?" Man, I swear.
Great bloody idea. We got to work on our British accent.
We do.
Yeah.
Oh,
by the way, I think this is a good segue to plug our new buddy from the UK. You guys make sure to check out the Dr. Ooze podcast. There's a podcast based out of the UK, and then we'll be in contact with him because I'm pretty sure he can gather some information for us, and he already has some interviews with some boxers and trainers out there. So you guys want to check that out, make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel. Check it out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow him at Dr. Ooze Podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure you could spill the tea, right? Tell us something. Some stuff.
Eddie Hearn information. You know what? He was asking me about Oscar De La Hoya.
What is it? What do you ask?
Should I tell you off air? Or? No, he just asked. He was like, "Hey, I saw that you guys had an interview with him. How is he?" And I'll tell you the answer off
okay.
air. Nothing bad, but
okay.
I guess some people have their, kind of like with Eddie Hearn, like some people have their...
Oh, we heard these things about
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
He's doing better.
He's doing better.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and Yeah, that's that. But in other news, it looks like sports are or might return in June here in California. Governor Gavin Newsom, whom I had no idea that was our governor before all this pandemic. I don't
Yeah.
know. Did you know?
And a little bit.
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin.
He said that sports may return without spectators as early as the first week of June.
Okay.
So yeah, what do you think about that, man?
I mean, we do. Anytime sports can come back in a safe manner, we'll welcome it. I saw some pictures of Chicharito out there, right, warming up,
Where in?
and the stuff of. There's some pictures. I was like, okay,
Oh,
so they're
really?
going back to training.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, same with Messi, Ronaldo.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
in Europe, most teams are already practicing.
Yeah.
In Germany, in the Bundesliga, the league resumed without spectators.
Mm-hmm.
Germany had a low number of cases, so they were kind of ahead of the curve, and and they resumed their league. I know the other leagues in Europe are practicing. Some have been canceled. Some of the federations decided that it was better to cancel them. In the Netherlands, I believe it was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
The Netherlands and France, I'm not sure, but yeah, some have returned, and I think basketball. They're also some have started practicing right at the facilities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But good news, I suppose, for boxing, that sports may be coming back here in California, right?
Yeah. And I think boxing was one of the California State Athletic Commission was one of those that was very strict. They were like, nope,
Yeah.
there's not going to be no combat sports. They're very strict as opposed to Florida or other states that were a little bit more, I guess you could say lenient. So this is good news. I mean, by the governors sharing this, let's bring back sports, no spectators, and boxing, the real ones don't show up till like 8 anyways. So, yeah.
Some don't show up at all. Yeah, but that's good news. We'll see if, like we heard Alan Garcia, who was our guest last week, they want to fight in July, right? They want to fight July, they said, right?
July, yeah.
July. They want to fight in July, so it's going to be interesting to see what venues sign up.
Yeah.
What venues say, hey, our doors are open. We're now going to hold events. I suppose the limit of people in the venue will be a concern too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, if they're not open, we can use my backyard, bro.
The new garden.
El Jardín. Oh, man. We'll keep it to what, like 6 people?
Yeah.
6 fans.
Those tickets are gonna go for about $500 each.
Get them while they're hot. Sell out quickly.
Yeah, but I have opened up the phone lines if you guys want to go ahead and call and chime in with any of the topics that we have spoken about, or if you guys have a new topic to introduce, or if you guys just kind of want to talk about anything else, promote something. Let us know. The phone lines are open, but. Yeah, that's June, man. That's June. It's gonna be very interesting these next couple months to see what happens.
Yeah, I know some media. I'm sure some media is gonna be there to, they'll get that clearance. It'd be cool just have a couple, 30 to 50 fans that really want to pay for it. Keep them spaced out. You can still sell tickets, for a very good price for whoever wants to really purchase those tickets. So I know it's like no fans. I know it's no fans in attendance, but I think I should do it.
Yeah. That wow was for Sean from Just Boxing Live. I went to see Mosley versus Mora at Staples. People in front of us showed up in the 3rd round of the main event and said, "Who are these guys fighting right now?"
That's disrespectful to Shane.
You know what's the worst part about that? Those guys probably got free tickets.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That fight was pretty boring. I'm not going to lie. I remember that fight was pretty boring. What was it, a draw?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but I remember Mora just trying to stay on the outside. He wanted no parts of that Shane Mosley power.
That right hand, I didn't want it.
Yeah. But that's, oh my God. And it's crazy because we see some people like that at the All-Star boxing fights. Mm-hmm. But obviously, the fighters who are in the ring are not the most popular guys. So, but people still show up, and they just kind of show up to support their friends or family members, and even if they don't know much about boxing, they still show up and support. But in the case of those other guys, like they probably get free tickets and don't even appreciate what they're watching.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, I seen some of those front row. I'm like, okay, he's a little sugar baby there. She has no idea but she's doing it for the selfie, for the gram.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun.
Draw. Yeah. Man, I don't know what else you got, Chris.
Let's see. I mean, I'm just excited for boxing to be back, even if it's no fans. At least we'll get to see them on the tube. That'll be exciting. Got something to talk about. Finally gets to see some fights. Get to see some fights that have been shelved. So
a lot of people are struggling with content, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people in boxing. I see the same posts on 50 Instagrams, and everyone kind of following the same trends. And just looking under everywhere for content, right?
Yeah.
So boxing needs to come back. You know what? I did have some interesting, fun questions, man.
Hey,
and you guys can participate watching at home as well. Just some random fun questions, kind of like we did last week. But here, let me ask you.
All right.
Are you ready for this?
Ready.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
But I have a feeling people might judge you based on your answers. All right.
Here we go.
Here we go. This question. All right. You guys think about it too at home. Think about your answer. If you were on a deserted island with two boxers, current right,
active boxers,
and had to be stuck with them for 2 years, who would you choose? You only got two.
Two boxers?
Two.
Oh, Tyson Fury for sure.
Tyson Fury.
This guy will keep me entertained for days. 2 years, yeah, he'll keep me entertained. Tyson Fury, number one. And number two, you know what? I'd say Joshua. Just so I can make him fight. So you're
going to get the exclusive.
Yeah.
Dang.
There you
I
go.
thought you were going to struggle with the answer a little bit because I had some ideas here.
Okay.
Tyson Fury was one of them. I said because he can probably fight a bear if a bear approaches you, right? If there are bears on this island. AB.
Oh, AB.
I don't know why. Just because. Entertainment. I don't know.
Yeah.
Inoue, because he can probably run fast and like catch animals if needed. Usyk, because he will entertain you.
Oh, yeah, Usyk. I missed that one.
Entertain you.
I missed that one. That was a good one.
He's pretty big, too. You could probably knock a tree down somewhere out there. Loma, because I think he can fish. I don't know. I've seen pictures of him fishing.
Could fish.
And he just dives into frozen lakes. So, I don't know. It looks like he can survive in any type of environment. Chocolatito's another option. Just because he would just kind of like be quiet and stay out of your way. He don't want anybody to bother you. And he'll pray for you every day.
That's true. You need that spiritual guidance, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I think I was just looking for entertainment value, and I just thought about my safety to surviving. But I mean, these are big guys. I'm sure we can hunt. We can hunt together, man. We'll catch some good stuff.
Pick fruits off the trees just standing.
Yeah.
If you give them they give each other boosts.
Yeah, I'm okay with my picks. I'm good. I'm satisfied.
Dang.
All right.
Yeah, I think Tyson Fury would definitely be one for me.
He's a pound for pound. That's one of the top picks.
Yeah, he probably sing to me. He probably. Oh man, Gonzalo's smart guy, man. Look at this guy. He outsmarted both of us.
What did he say? He said Manny, huh?
He ended his sentence with a wink. All right. He said Siniesa Estrada and Marisela Cornejo.
Ah, shoot. Man, genius. We
got some shout-outs here from Saludos, bro, from Lalo's Boxing.
Hey,
Lalo's
okay.
Boxing. You're familiar with Lalo's Boxing.
Yeah. I know who he would pick. He'd probably pick Lady Hammer.
That's not a bad pick.
That's not a bad pick, man.
That's not a bad pick.
Lady Hammer, and he probably pick Clarissa Shields as well, right? I want him to see what he says about that. But yeah, okay, some good picks. Yeah. Who would you pick?
I said Tyson. Tyson Fury.
Okay.
Man, because he'll entertain me. He'll sing to me.
Yeah.
He'll probably hunt for me. And man, the second one is tough.
Yeah.
I'll say Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, because he's singing to you too. I mean, it's about the same. You guys go running together in the morning.
There you go.
You guys can train here and there.
Yeah, and he seems like he would be able to survive in any type of environment.
Yeah.
You know, he came out of nothing, so yeah.
Yeah, in 2 years' time, dude, you're ready to take on the bantamweight division, bro.
He said, no doubt, hammer time, #hammer time, and hell no, not Clarissa Shields. So we're picking two people who you would choose to be stuck with on a deserted island for 2 years. After that, you'll get rescued and you'll live happily ever after. Not with them, not with those two guys, but just on your own. So pretend you're in the show Lost. Have you watched Lost? Yeah, and you got to pick only two people to be lost with, essentially.
Okay.
This guy said Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I said Tyson Fury and Manny Pacquiao.
It's a good pick.
Yeah. I have a girlfriend, so I can't name any girls.
Because she's watching. And we're live. We can't edit this out.
And unfortunately, she's not a boxer, so I can't pick her.
Nice. All right.
Oh, another question, too.
Okay.
Similar, but if you were on a 12-hour plane ride, 3 seats in your row, you're sitting in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
What 2 boxers would you choose to sit next to you?
Oh,
12-hour ride.
Active or all time?
Let's say active, because then you start. I think Mike Tyson is like the obvious choice.
True. All right, active. Definitely Usyk. That's one of those guys I kind of passed on that lottery draft, so I pick him this time.
You ain't sleeping on that plane.
I'm not sleeping. Yeah, he's gonna keep me entertained. Two others. I know who I wouldn't pick. No AB. This guy would get annoying. Usyk. Who else? Active.
Should we ask Lalo's Boxing to call in?
Yeah.
The number is on the screen if you'd like to call in. I've heard of this gentleman, but I've never had the pleasure of meeting him or speaking to him. Mm-hmm. But I do have some questions.
Yeah.
If you would like to call in, number's on your screen.
Nice. You know what? I put Canelo.
You'll sit with Canelo?
Yeah, I was going to pick his brain a little bit, talk to him a bit. That'd be cool.
Sí, Cristian, mira, fíjate que...
Canelo, ¿qué canción te canta el Chapo?
Así se come la carne,
And you know what? I would bring Triple G around and have them both sit like on my sides, not let them get too close to each other.
Who do you think will be saltier at the other one? I have a feeling Triple G will be the salty one.
I think Triple G is such a nice guy, but I think there's no way he can't be a little bit salty because of the decisions, the favoritism,
negotiating,
all that. So I think he's a little salty, but I think he's a good guy. I think he's made enough money in his career. Well, he'll be all right. Yeah, I don't see him coaching boxing anytime soon, though. I don't think he's gonna want to stick around the sport. Yeah. All right.
So those are your 2 picks, Canelo and Triple G.
And Usyk, you said 3, right?
No, so 3 seats.
3. Oh, okay.
You're in the middle.
Oh yeah. Canelo and Triple G. Getting a call in. Hey.
All right, let's see. Hello. Dang. Hold on. Let me put your volume up. Hold up.
I can hear you through the...
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Who is this? Is this Lalo's Boxing?
Yeah, it's the one and only, man. The hottest boxing page, man. Go by Lalo's Boxing.
Oh, wait, what an introduction. Oh, man.
Nah, what's up, man? What's cracking, you guys?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Shit, chilling, man. Watching your show.
Hey, okay, there you go.
Can you hear us okay?
Huh?
Can you hear us okay? That's a no, right?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay. For sure.
Okay.
Where are you at right now? Where are you from?
I'm from Sacramento, man.
Oh,
Up
north.
California.
Sacktown.
Yep, I'm in north. Yes, sir.
Hey, okay, Lalo. So we've seen your page. We've seen you. You leave your imprint, your mark here in the sport. So I'm gonna ask you, bro. Like, when did you first get into boxing? When did that love for boxing? Where did that start?
Man, I was young, man. I was doing a car wash a long time ago, man. One of my neighbors, when I was like, I would say 12, 13. And then that night, it was a fight between Oscar De La Hoya and Mayweather. And they invited me over. And after that, I became a fan. And I started watching all the old fights. And, I became a fan of Eric Morales as well, man. He was a beast. I started watching all his fights. And, that's where, boxing, took place.
So when did the Instagram pages come about? Because I've heard of your pages, but I always hear that they get taken down.
Oh yeah, man! I'm the king of getting shut down, man. For some reason, man, I got some haters, man.
What do you do?
But it's all good.
So we know what not to do. What do you do?
All right, man. This is what you don't
do,
man. Don't talk a lot of shit. Oh, my bad. I don't know if y'all can cuss or not, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Don't talk a lot of and just don't put a lot of DAZN crap on your Instagram, man, because they use it as copyrights as well.
All right, we got some shout outs here for Boxing Algarete. Saludos to everyone on the panel. Shout out to you guys, man. Thank you for joining us. We have Lalo's Boxing here on the line, live and direct. All right, so yeah, the Instagrams. How many times have you gotten taken down?
So far, like 3 or 4. And my first account, I was at 76,000.6. I started in 2014, and I just started the page just to start it, man. I didn't didn't think it's gonna take off, but once I got 100 followers, I kept going, and people liked the content I was putting out because I was keeping everybody updated, and everything that came out, I was just putting it on my page, every trending news, every dope highlight, knockout, whatever. I would just put it on my page, and after a while, I seen people start, messing with the page. They liked, everything, and I got my first 1,000, and I was like, oh shit, I'll probably take it serious, and I kept going. By the end of the year, I had like 10,000 followers. I was surprised.
Nice.
And and after that, it was just
76
history.
76K, bro. A lot of boxers don't even have that many followers. Dang, okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they took me out though. And then after that, I made another page right after, and they took me out again. They took me out on 18K.
Ah, okay.
But
And I don't know who enemy is, man. Flat out.
Yeah, then they took me out again at 8K, and right now it's my 4th page. I'm at 9,000.
Okay.
But shit, I learned my lesson, man. I ain't gonna be starting too much scrap, but I like to speak facts, man. That's the thing about me. And, I'll be calling out fighters because I want to see the best fight the best. Okay. I'm also a fan at the end of the day, and I want to, make, the best fights for myself and for, all the fans around the world.
Yeah.
So who are some of your guys? Yeah. Who are some of the guys you root for and some of the guys you don't like as much?
Man, I root for a lot of fighters, man. My boy, Jose Ramirez, he's out of Fresno.
Yeah.
Central. Yeah, he's one of the dopest, fighters that I ever met. Ryan Garcia, he's also followed my page. He's a dope follower. We be texting here and there. I'm supposed to be coming out to LA soon to go see him train because he got a fight coming up. And some other fighters that I don't like, obviously it's Clarissa Shield. Me and her got into it a couple times.
Wow.
This little beef, but I really don't have beef. At the end of the day, I still respect all these fighters. Why? Because they put their lives inside that square circle, man. They risk their lives just for our entertainment.
Yeah.
But yeah,
how old are you?
It's all good with me.
What's your
I'm 27,
age?
man.
27. Okay. So a lot of these guys are your age, or some of them are younger, right? So it's not like you're just some 13-year-old kid on the internet talking shit about whoever you feel like it.
Yes, nah, man.
Yeah, I mean,
and my recent fighter that I got into it was Jamal Charlo on my page.
I think I ran into that one. Yeah.
Yes, we've seen that one.
I'm not a big fan either.
Yeah. So I told him, he called it trolling. I call it facts because I told him, you haven't fought nobody. There's 3 opponents on middleweight. They're nobodies. I mean, who's Adams? I forgot some other. He fought Korba, but to me,
Close
Korba
fight.
beat him.
Yeah, close fight.
I had him winning. I had a Korba winning, but he hasn't fought nobody at middleweight, and I told him that, and he got a little bit upset. And it is what it is, man. It's my opinion. Everybody feels the same way. I mean, we want to see the best fight the best. Why not fight Andrade? Why not fight Canelo? What's I want to see him be tested, but it is what it is, man.
What was his answer when you told him, why haven't you fought anybody? What was his response?
He just left me already. He didn't bother to reply.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with that is that he's a champion, right? He holds a WBC champion, and he didn't really beat anybody to earn it.
A paper champion. Champion.
They kind of upgraded him, right? The email champion, as Delfimo called Devin Haney, right? Did you see that, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty funny. Email champion.
Email champion.
Yeah. Hey, it's true though, man. I mean, it's kind of messing up the sport that we love, because man, they're making everybody a champion, man, and they're not earning it the hard way. That's the thing I disagree with WBC, because they're just giving out belts, and it's nowadays easy to be a champion. You get one through an email.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, Lalo. I'm gonna bring a topic. I'm not sure you've ever answered this on other platforms, but maybe you have. Tell me about Andy Garcia, because it seemed like when that opponent for Anthony Joshua fell through,
Andy Ruiz.
You were one of the first pages to throw Andy Ruiz's name out there, and at first a lot of people didn't take it too serious, but then lo and behold, Eddie Hearn started mentioning his name and eventually became an opponent. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, man. Me and Andy, we were cool, and I just seen that Dylan White failed a test, a PED. He got busted, and Andy was coming off a great stoppage victory, and I was like, let me make a post real quick. I would like to see this fight, Andy versus Joshua. Why not? Since it's possible to make it, since Dylan White just got busted. So I made the post, and I got a lot of reaction to it. And then Andy posted it, and he DM'd me. I still got the DM. I screenshot the DM and everything. And he was like, blow it up. If you could pass it with your boxing pages and let them know. And then I did that, and the next day, Eddie Hearn, gave him sent him a message, and offering Andy the fight. And so that fight basically started off my page. A lot of people, knew about it too, and the rest is history, man. Andy went on to become the first Mexican heavyweight champ, and yeah.
I mean, because I saw it from your page when it first came out, and I was like, okay, he started I saw this little wave starting. But did you ever get any type of at least thanks or any kind of recognition on Andy's part or Eddie's part?
A little bit, man. After my page got deleted, because my page got deleted a couple months after that fight, he gave me a shout out, on his Insta story and stuff like that. But not really, recognition and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I take it.
You didn't get no cut. You didn't get a little piece of that bag.
No cut. No cut. No bag. No ticket to the fight.
No
nothing,
tickets,
man. Yeah,
no trip to Saudi Arabia, man. Come on.
Nothing, bro. Yeah, so at the end of the day, man, that's the fight I wanted to see, so I couldn't complain. But it would have been nice, his boy Lalo was there and shit. Since I made it happen on my page, I got everybody talking about it. And the next day he just sent me the message saying, "Oh, he got a message from Hearn, offering about the fight and shit like that." But
let me ask you this: would you like to pursue a career as a matchmaker?
I mean, I think I will make it, man. Cause I know how to get fight started. It's off my page already. Shit. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind.
All right. Right now, like at the top of your head, name us three matchmaking fights that you would make immediately
On the spot.
on the spot.
All right. One, Ryan Garcia versus Tank.
Okay.
Should we
Crawford
ask
versus
him who?
Spence.
Go ahead.
My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask Chris. Should we ask him who he has to, or just matchmaking?
Just
we ask-
matchmaking, and
all
then
right.
at the end you'll give us who would win.
All right. So you said
All right,
Ryan against
Tank.
Spence Crawford.
Okay.
And let me see. Third one. Another fight. I would say. Canelo versus Charlo, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Third one, I can't.
Okay. We put you on the spot, so yeah. We didn't give you too much time to think about that, but okay. So who would you pick for all three fights? Who do you see coming out victorious?
Well, I got a little bro, man, Ryan Garcia, for sure, no doubt. And I think he'll stop him too with the risks that took.
Okay.
Spence and Crawford, I'm rocking with Crawford. I'm not too sure how Spence, is going to come back after that car accident. But either way, I still had Crawford beating him before that car accident.
Okay.
I think Crawford's boxing IQ is really good, and he's really dangerous, man. He can switch it up from you. He'll go from southpaw to orthodox at any time in the fight and just throw your whole game plan off. And Canelo and Charlo, I got Canelo.
That's a given.
That's a
Yeah.
given.
Yeah, that's a given. Canelo all day.
Let me ask you this, because they're saying Spence might fight Danny Garcia. So what do you guys think about that? No tuna fight for Spence. Straight to it.
I'll let
This
Lalo
is a good
answer.
opportunity for Danny. My bad. It's a good opportunity for Danny. I mean, we'll see, because it's a perfect time to get a Spence, especially coming off that car accident. And Danny's no pushover. I mean, Danny fought great fighters, and he also fought, some bums. But at the end of the day, he always looks good every time he fights an elite level fighter. And he's never in a boring fight. So I'm still edging Spence, but I'm not sleeping on Danny.
Okay. All right, Lalo, I got a question for you. That have you've managed to grow an Instagram page pretty big. What do you think these up and coming fighters need to do to market themselves in this social media world?
Just contact the pages, man. Tell them to repost their content. Reach out to me, and just it's all about building with each other.
Okay.
They help me, I help them.
Okay.
All right, man. Well, thank you for calling in, man. We appreciate this talk. We'll keep in touch. Any last stuff you want to promote or talk about?
That's pretty much it, man. I appreciate you guys having me call the show. Tune in, stay tuned in, and yeah, let's do it.
For sure. Anytime. Where can people follow you once again?
The hottest boxing page goes by Lalo's Boxing, LALOSBOXINGG on Instagram, and then Lalo's Boxing on everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And shout out to Against what?
Damn, straight
My
fucked
bad,
up. Oh, man.
I did fucked up.
We're-
Against the ropes. No, I was gonna say against something, but I knew it was against the ropes.
No, hey, bro. No, we're Chicana Boxing, bro.
Hey, that's where I seen her story, and that's why I came over here and checked you guys out.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
hold
the
that's what's up.
homegirl. Yeah. So cool.
on. Yeah,
We work for her.
I'm
Yeah, we're under her label.
We're signed to a record label, so if you want any
Nah, man.
business, hit up our boss, Xicana Boxing.
We got to mention her every 10 minutes.
Every 10 minutes you gotta mention her. Nah, all right, y'all, man. I appreciate y'all.
All right, brother. Have a good one, man. We'll definitely have you back on. We'll talk some more boxing for sure.
Sounds good, man.
All
Hey,
right,
man. Hey, sparks and controversies, man. We need more fun out here.
All right. So that was Lalo, man. Lalo from Lalo's Boxing. The thing in boxing, you're always gonna have your haters, your followers. He's doing something that that's tailored for him. Yeah, he does. He does speak his mind.
I'm sorry, dude. Hold on. I'm sorry. I had to laugh. Sean said, "How do I get signed?"
Sean, yeah. So yeah, no, Lalo's page on Instagram, it does garner a lot of attention. He does have a good following. He's very engaging with his audience. He's doing a good stuff. Like people can take notice and take notes from what he's doing. A lot of the stuff is very opinionated. He does get into people's skins. You saw it with the.
But it works.
It works. He got under Clarissa Shields' skin. The Charlos.
Stacks is not the only one she went at it with.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Apparently,
Yeah.
she went at it with Stacks too.
Yeah. I think we need to start some beefs then too, huh?
Who won it?
All right. So, yeah, awesome. That was a great phone call.
We should have told them to start dissing us.
Right?
To get our followers.
Oh man, that's funny. Or you could start dissing. Well, was it just boxing? No. Just kidding, Sean. Just kidding. Awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Sean and Just Boxing Live, man, for always checking in here on the live chat,
Yeah.
staying up.
Yeah. What are you up to, Sean? What else is going on?
I've seen he's been training and putting stuff on Instagram and hitting the double end bag, homemade,
Dang.
doing some tricks on the jump rope. That's what I'm talking about.
What are the Ryan Garcia bags? He's gonna order one of those too.
The Cobra bag.
The Cobra bags.
Yeah.
Damn.
I heard they're coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that. I think his dad designed it. Ryan's dad designed that specific one. So, yeah, Sean, if you get one, we'll go over to the gym. We'll practice it out. Try it out. We'll warm it up. All right. Any topics? Any more?
That's all I have, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just excited that boxing's coming back. I mean, fans, no fans. The only one that matters is those two guys in the ring. So, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a good time for them to get their weight up, man, get their followers up, get that exposure up. A lot of guys have been doing that.
Yeah.
You've seen the Twitter beefs. That's a new thing. I guess in these times it works because you can't go anywhere, so you have nothing else but to talk smack about your future opponents, possibly through the internet, right? I've seen Jorge Linares has even been doing it, right?
Usually being soft spoken, right now he's getting into it, so it makes it exciting. It just he puts out his persona, his character out there, that he's not just this pushover guy that's just gonna fold over. No, he's a multi-division title holder. He even went off on Ryan and like, what were you doing at 21? I was a world champion at 21.
Same with Abner Ramirez.
I know.
Kind of similar to what he said.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. Will he fight him in July? Not sure. I think he has, he's in Japan. He's gonna have some visa troubles, but as soon as that fight gets made, whether it's later in the year or early next year, that's a fight we all want to see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We have some questions here. Sean says he's warming up before the big fight. You have a big fight coming up?
Oh.
Mine's a small fight.
Oh.
No, I'm dissing myself.
Oh,
You didn't
okay.
get the joke.
No, I thought you were
dissing
just
myself.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm no opponent for Sean. Sean will take me out a couple of rounds. Are we gonna do another post-fight post-show press conference?
We should. Yeah, that'd be funny. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna take some of the clips out because I'm gonna edit that thing because we said some funny stuff, but make that into a video. Now we'll probably have some videos sparring here in the backyard, in the new garden out here.
El Jardín.
Just trying to stay busy and stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to put out some content, all that. But yeah, man, that's all I got for today, man. Once again, make sure to follow us at againstdaropes on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, man. Big shout outs to Sean here, Just Boxing Live. Make sure to follow Just Boxing, right, on Twitter. Yeah. No, actually not on Twitter. He doesn't have a Twitter still, right? You don't have a Twitter still? On Instagram and Facebook, Just Boxing. Big shout out to the Just Boxing Life Foundation, right? Doing great things out here. Hopefully all that stuff went well with you with the pandemic relief grant. Once again, much respect for that. And yeah, that's all I got, man.
Yeah. That's it. For me, just shout out to Lalo for calling in. We welcome any phone calls. Call in. Let's talk boxing. Promote what you need to promote. This is a big boxing family, and so we love talking boxing about what's going in and out of the ring. And so, yeah, shout out to Lalo for calling in.
Still no Twitter. Confirmed. All right. Let us know when you got that up so we can. I'll put it up on the screen. If you get a Twitter, Sean, I will put it up right here on the bottom of your screen somewhere. All right, so people can see it. Yeah, but yeah, and then stay tuned, man. We'll probably be back soon with another live podcast. We'll see what other news boxing brings us, right? Any other controversies or possible fights. It looks like sports will be back soon as June, all right? So maybe a couple weeks from now. So I just hope that a lot of these boxers have stayed, getting ready and training.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys are talking about, fighting in June, fighting in July. It's not that far away.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're staying ready and staying at 100, to give the people what they want.
Yeah. To me, also, like with Lalo's content, put content out there. It's a perfect time for, I don't know, I'm not sure if you've seen Joseph Parker's videos. He has some very funny, entertaining videos. And I think I mentioned this in one of the previous podcasts, like, Usyk, like, where are you? We missed your videos, your entertaining videos. This was a perfect time for you just to, be putting
Get creative.
Yeah, exactly. Getting creative, put content out there. And so, yeah, again, fighters are more than just fighters, they're people. And so, content is necessary during these times. So, yeah, that's about it.
That's it, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back soon. Peace.
Peace.
Like you already know, I'm a fun guy.
Hola amigos, soy Juan, quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas, que se les muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you very soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.